Hey folks, welcome back. We're playing a little bit more Kerbal Space Program 2. I kind of tried to stream at lunchtime today, but I kept getting pulled away for work every 10, 15, 20 minutes. So we're going to do a little bit more streaming. This is an afternoon stream. It's kind of like a lunch stream. What I realized, I was kind of looking at the screen off stream while I was doing other stuff, and what I realized is that I forgot that the hydrogen engines are really efficient for space, but really not efficient for atmosphere. So I think we might want to try the standard rocket engines instead of the hydrogen engines. So let's give that a shot. So I'm going to throw these out. Sorry, hydrogen. Okay. And I think this landing gear can actually stay where it's at. Wing off, and then these can all go away. So I'm going to try using the standard methyl ox fuel here. Hey, thanks. You know, it'd be interesting actually. I wonder if you could use a rocket engine with an air-breathing, with a methane fuel tank, if you put an intake on the front of it. I feel like you could maybe do that. I don't know. So this is going to be our... Ideally, we'd like it to be something small like this, right? Let's actually, I'm gonna restructure this a little bit. We're gonna make it lighter. This is very light. And then we'll put an aerodynamic tail thing on it. There we go. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put fuel tanks with engines attached underneath the wings, I think. Do the so-called asparagus staging. Looks like we might need a little more tail length here. Okay, we're gonna reduce the root length a little bit. I also realized, by the way, these wings are very heavy, but I think they're the appropriate size for this craft. You could try using the smaller wings and see if it works better. Let's try it. Let's try using the smaller wings. Because they are procedurally generated anyway. And my symmetry mode went away when I grabbed the new part out of the thing for some reason. Okay. I think that's flat? Yeah, okay, that looks flat. Right. Let's see which one of these is the tail thing. This is the pitch control, so that'd be the side fins. Oops. That's backwards. There we go. That's what we want. Hopefully those are pitching the right way. We'll see when we get into the air. Oh, that looks sloppy and wacky. A little better. And adjust it just for aesthetic's sake. I'm happy with that. Okay. Leaving that the way it is. And all these things are mounted on the tail now, right? Good. Okay, so we can leave that part alone and just remove it and then replace it. It's a nice thing about this arrangement. We don't have to keep redoing it. Jet Mark 1.2. That's totally how Roman numerals work. Okay. And now we have the landing gear. This is how am I going to mount the landing gear? Do I just put it on the side of the body? This is going to be difficult to land, especially if it's got a lot of weight on the wings. The wings are crooked, by the way. I got to fix that. I really want the wheels to be further out. I mean, if the wings are a little crooked like that, maybe we can have the wheels on the wings, and that's fine. We'll try it like that. I'll translate these downward a little bit. Try that. Okay, and now we need some engines. So we're going to have some asparagus staged rocket engines, ideally with the... Let's figure out which way this goes. Okay, so that... The attachment point is like the opposite end. So we really want it like this. If I'm understanding it correctly, but it goes the other way, so... That looks right, okay. Let's adjust... Well, this is going to change the center of mass a lot, so I think this will be okay. We're gonna try with Methalong's fuel tanks for now. It looks too big, doesn't it? I'm feeling it's gonna be too big. Okay, so we got that. Let's get the intake. Oh, we don't need an intake, right? Because it's not an air-breathing engine. Just putting fuel in there. Now we're going to use these Reliant engines because we have aerodynamic steering capabilities. I'm going to have to increase the size of the control surfaces, I realize, as I'm thinking about it. Okay, let's line these up so that they're thrusting directly. Aft. As close as we can get them anyway. That should be okay. And then we're gonna... Is there like a copy and paste function in this scheme? I don't think there is there? Let me look that up real quick. KSP to copy subassembly. It's KSP1 stuff. I mean, we can make that a subassembly, I guess, and it's alright. We'll just make it again. It's no big deal. The only thing is positioning that was a bit of a pain. Let's try it with 2 engines first, actually, and see if it actually flies before we spend a bunch of time messing around with it, adding more engines. Why did you change my jet name? 2. Okay, let's try this. Oh my god, it's squirrely as hell. That's way too much thrust. Honestly, this is fine. Ripped off the pitch control, yeah, I know, right? Fortunately, I didn't set up the ailerons correctly, so we can use the ailerons for pitch control, technically. We got a rudder. Oh, right. What if I don't want to go towards the trees? Is that an option? I guess that's a no. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have to throttle those rocket engines. We can actually do that in the rocket engine settings. We could also just... We could add more fuel. Let's add a little more fuel. Let's experiment. I want to see what's the dry weight of this. Doesn't have the dry weight of these things. Oh, it's it. There it is. Okay, it's mass 2.25, methalox 2 tons. So the dry weight, I guess, is 0.25. What's the weight of the coupling and stuff like that? So this is 0.05. We could probably afford a little bit larger tank. Okay, we're gonna set a thrust limiter on this. Let's set it to like 60% for starters, since we just made it heavier. It would be more efficient actually if we just had a single engine, I think, because it wouldn't weigh as much. Rather than thrust limiting 2 engines to 60%, it's kind of silly, right? Gears up. There's a weird natural tendency to fly downwards, which I don't like so much. I don't think it's because of the speed. I think it's something about the aerodynamics of it. It also really wants to pitch to the left. It's like really unbalanced for reasons that are... Oh, I see why. The engines aren't straight. Need a parachute for these test planes. Gotta get Jeb out of there. Yeah, so what... Eject, eject! Game over, man! Let's check these three things here. I wonder if the center of thrust needs to be higher? That's probably what it is. Maybe the higher up wings work for the little tiny real-life aircraft because they have a higher center of thrust. How are we gonna fix that? I have no idea. I mean, we could just mount these directly onto the wing, not have pylons. That would get us a little bit higher center of gravity, or center of thrust. Of course, we won't be able to inject them. Also, they'll probably incinerate our tail fins there. They're like mounted through the middle of the wing. I don't know, I like that. How do I feel about that? There we go. There we go. You think that's right? We'll see. Not entirely sure if the center of lift is balanced the way it's supposed to be. But at least it shouldn't tear the wings off now. I have to rebalance the thrust limiters here now. What? KSP stage manager, why have you done this to me? I don't understand. What have I ever done? No, I mean, it wasn't fatal in this case, but it's the principle of the thing. Why is this whole thing porpoising? Oh, because I have the... I think that happens when you put the ailerons on pitch control. For some reason the pitch control is a lot more squirrely than the other types. What's going on here? Did we just not? Okay. It really wants to fly downward. We can adjust the trim to keep it in the air. Oops, I didn't mean to... There we go. Adjusting the trim. Trim is basically just like a really poor man's autopilot. This keeps the control surfaces at a steady setting. See how far we've gone. I'm making good progress compared to the other jet. I think this is more efficient. Well, trim never hurt nobody, right? This is kind of soothing, flying like this. I mean, it'll be less soothing when we run out of fuel and have to ditch in the water. But let's try out our instruments. We haven't done much atmospheric surveying. See if we can stay in the air for 6 minutes or whatever. Atmosphere survey still running. We don't have any solar panels on this thing, I just realized, but we're generating... it's pitching downward again, hold on. There we go. I mean, this is pretty efficient, actually. Once we get going. Okay, new data from the atmosphere here. 13 seconds until we're done the atmosphere survey. We're good. It's gonna be so satisfying when we get this to Mars and we can fly this in the Martian atmosphere. And I go, shit, there's not enough lifts, and then we have to compensate with the rockets, and it's gonna be a train wreck. That's gonna be interesting. Transmit. Okay, I guess for data there's only one atmosphere, but for environment samples there's different terrain, there's different atmosphere types. That's interesting. We can see if we can get the mountains terrain here. Why did we suddenly stop thrusting there? Oh, concerns. Plunk. Might as well recover the vessel. That's pretty successful, reasonably. It wasn't quite what I'd hoped to be in terms of... Thank you. It wasn't quite what I'd hoped to be in terms of fuel efficiency. Unfortunately, Mars doesn't have water, so that's going to be an obstacle for us for landing. At least I should say they don't have significant quantities of liquid water. And then we're going to add more fuel tanks on pylons here is what we're going to do now. Is there anything else we need to adjust first to make it more stable? How do I get this down to one engine? I think I have to put the... Let's take apart the tail, which makes me sad. But I think this needs to be one engine. For the sake of fuel efficiency. Alright, so this is just going to go away. And I kind of don't want to take apart the fuselage, so I think I'm just going to put a tiny fuel tank here. Like that, just so we have something to hook up the engine to. And then we'll put fuel lines going to that from the wings. But let's fix our controls so we're not porpoising all over the place like before. This is our yaw control, so that's a vertical stabilizer. Oops, it's backwards. And by process of elimination, this is our horizontal stabilizer, which is also backwards. Okay, we're gonna adjust the settings on this a little bit after I get this figured out here. The UI is glitching. It won't let me click on the pins here. There it is. Okay, it's underneath another UI element. That seems annoying. Why wouldn't it pop up to the top when I click on that? Okay. So we're looking for the route length. Reduce that to like there. I think that'll do. So it looks a little weird. No matter which way I press the rotation key, I always guess wrong about which way it has to be rotated. Like the rotations, it just doesn't make any sense the way that it's set up. It's probably like the UV texture direction or some nonsense like that that has no bearing on the actual gameplay. So this has a center of lift that's slightly below the center of mass. That's probably why it's pitching downward. I think we could fix that by adjusting the wings. We can maybe also move the tail fins higher. I don't know if that'll make a difference. Didn't make a huge difference as far as I could tell. So we're going to adjust the wings. It made a difference, actually. I think we want the center of lift to be right on the line with the center of mass. So for that... maybe a little bit above. Because the center of lift is going to be pushing in the center of mass, sort of, I think. Let's try this. I don't know if this is... I may be totally off base. So it has kind of a natural pitch to it. Oh, I forgot we have a tiny fuel tank now. Because I haven't added the wing tanks. This is gonna be a short flight. We can practice our landing. Oh, huh? Well, we were going that fast, so... we're porpoising down the runway, okay. I feel like it really wants to go downward. I think that's why it's doing this weird behavior. So I think I have it backwards. Maybe we do want the center of lift to be low. Or maybe we want it to be level? I don't know. And so right now it's quite high. So we made it lower. I'm just going to exaggerate this for the testing purposes. So let's try it like this and see how it handles, assuming we can even get it off the ground without crashing. Which is a significant assumption since the thruster is pointed towards the ground. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. We should probably also put in some more fuel. That would help, I think. I think we can replace this tail section with a fuel tank. Once this section runs out of fuel, who cares how much it weighs, right? Oh, that's the wrong size tank. I want to leave this structural section alone because I don't want to rearrange the wings. If we can help it. I don't think that's enough. Let's try to put in a larger tank like this. That'll do, okay. I think that's about the right size. And then which one is this again? This is pitch. Symmetry helps. Okay, now we gotta fix the wings, I think. Center of lift is above the center of mass. Okay, so we'll be pushing this way, pushing that way. It's gonna want to go downward, I think. I think this should do it. Let's try that. So the center of lift is very slightly below the center of mass, but it's pretty much in line. Oh, that was weird. I lifted off on its own. I didn't even have to pitch upward. What are you doing there? Did you not? With the crazy ailerons? Okay. A little more gas. I don't know why it wants to pitch down so much. Maybe the angle of the rocket engine has to be adjusted a little? This makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. I'm not a aerodynamic scientist. I tried pulling up the landing gear to see if that makes any difference. Still wants to pitch downward. If I go faster, will it pitch upward? No. I don't think so. No, I think they're on the level. It was worth checking. I'm gonna try pitching the rocket engine slightly downward, because like on commercial jets, the thrust is coming from underneath the wings, so it's below, I think, the center of lift and the center of mass. So we're gonna try to rotate this a little bit. I'm gonna just cheat this. And maybe a bit much. There we go. This is either going to help or make it worse. It might make it worse. Can't tell yet. Could you... Okay. For some reason the SAS makes it porpoise like that. Makes it flip the ailerons around like that really bad. It's really wanting to pitch downward. Yeah, he's having the time of his life over there. Ready for this jet, we're going inverted. You know, when the game first came out, I wasn't really crazy about the bobblehead motions from the cockpit cam, but it's growing on me. It's kind of cute. I feel like their facial expressions were a little better in the first one, though. I think they toned down the bobbling a little bit, too. Okay, so let's try the opposite way, then. Just want to make sure the center of mass is actually between the landing gear. Weird stuff keeps happening when we first launch, or first go down on the runway, whatever you call that. Deploy, I guess. Man, that lifted off right away. That's a good sign. Like, immediately, as soon as I got over like 100 meters per second, it just started pitching up off the ground. I think we got it, yeah. For some reason is it the speed that's making it do that? Something to do with the SAS module. Some interaction between the SAS and the aerodynamics, I think. Now it wants to pitch down again. And I was so hopeful for a minute. Is it because I'm not going fast enough? I think I'm not going fast enough. Giving her all she's got, Captain. Actually, not really. Now I'm giving her all she's got. So we can obviously keep it in the air, but I'd like it to be like aerodynamically stable to the point where it wants to stay in the air under its own power. and not having to correct it all the time or set the trim. I feel like with real airplanes, like, they just want to fly level. Like, they're just designed, they're balanced in such a way that they just fly level if you, like, let go of the controls. And I can't quite ever seem to achieve that with the KSP planes, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I think pitching the engine up a little bit did help. I don't want to lean into that too much, though, because I don't want to... I think we're using the line of thrust to counteract a problem with the balance, which is not necessarily the way that I want to go here. Okay, let's make slight adjustments. Okay, so now the center of lift is above the center of mass. Just gonna launch it, or just save it every time, I guess. That doesn't seem promising. Seems to be squirrely as hell. Sending more strongly downward, I think. Maybe the center of lift does need to be ahead of the center of mass? I think I need to also reduce my control surfaces. That might have something to do with the porpoising. I do like being able to quickly maneuver, though. I probably will need the big control surfaces when we're on Duna, assuming that the wings even work at all. Okay, so let's put the wings back in line with the center of mass. Control one variable at a time here. I think that's about right. Let's put the engine in line as well. Okay, it straightened itself out, that's good. Center of lift is slightly above the center of mass here. Now it's slightly below. Let's try to turn off the snap and try it that way. Not what I had in mind. Game. Okay, game. Try that. Now we only have one wing. Thanks, game. Okay. Oops. Center mass is slightly below the center line, I'm realizing. What if we translate this downward? We can make fine adjustments to the wings with the translation tool also. Why is my center of lift sideways? The center of pressure is what they call it. Center pressure seems to be like slanted for some reason too. And maybe turning off the snap was a mistake. Yeah, now it's like sort of on the line. Okay, so we're trying now putting the center of lift ahead of the center of mass. I think this is backwards, but I don't know. Okay. I think our gear is really unbalanced, maybe. Yeah, we need to push the nose gear inward a little bit. We keep adjusting the wing height, so... Again, okay, so it again started lifting on its own. I didn't put any input in. Now it really wants to fly towards the sky. Oh god. Okay, it's not quite what I had in mind, but it's a progress, I guess, of a sort. So I think I don't really like how far forward the wings are anyway in this configuration because they're blocking the cockpit egress. So I think it's fine if we move them back a little bit. Move them back a little bit more. Not quite that much. There we go. Okay. No. Center lift is still behind. Oops. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's try that. Let's see if we can get level. No. Trying to figure out how to like level the wheels actually. Doing it by putting this on the actual ground, that might help. Okay, so the mains are there. So yeah, we need to... This gear's in the ground, that's why the thing's always pointing upward. We want it to be a little bit like that, but not too much. That should be good. I think this is going to fly smoothly. Fingers crossed. I think we need the SAS while we're on the ground, so we're going to try to ditch it as soon as the lift kicks in. Do I have the brakes locked or something? What the hell's going on here? The aircraft really wants to pitch sideways. Somehow I introduced some minute asymmetry that's messing up the entire airflow of the aircraft. I think that it just seems like a bug in the game. Like, how can something that I can't even visibly see have that big an impact to where the whole aircraft is just steering sideways? Doesn't make any sense. Now it's pitching downward again. Why are we like this? Maybe the gear is part of the computation? No. Okay, so we're going to move the wings a little bit further forward again. That was more than a little bit. Ideally, I'd like them to be like that. Maybe the asymmetry business came from the landing gear being pressed up into the nose. Maybe it's like a collision detection issue with the game physics. I'll try putting that down again. I lifted off by itself at a speed of only 80 or 90 meters per second. Still pitching downward. Can't be that we don't have enough speed, right? We could try having bigger wings or more swept wings. I think more swept wings gives a higher stall speed, so we probably want less swept wings. Center of thrust is a little bit higher. Let's see if that makes any difference. The thing is, though, I think if it were the stall speed, we wouldn't be getting off the ground in the first place. Like if we're at top speed and we're not hitting our stall velocity, like how could this thing even fly at that point? This thing took off at like 70 meters per second. I mean, it could be the drag from the landing gear, maybe? We could try retracting the gear and see if that makes any difference. Let's... I want it to be level even with the gear up, though, ideally. Or even with the gear down. Otherwise, it's going to make landing a little tricky. Maybe? Let's try bringing the gear up, see if it helps. It's very slight, but it's still trending downward. Yeah. Okay, I guess let's keep moving the engine further down then. It's a pain because it really messes up the aesthetic of the rocket. We could also make the engine point upward a little bit, I think. I'm gonna look this up real quick. How to KSP2, how to balance plane. It's talking about how fighter jets are designed for instability. That's not really helpful. I was trying to Google it. Let's see. I feel like every time I go to build a plane, I struggle with this issue. It's always like the same thing, more or less. Try that. Lifts it off by itself, less than 60. Now it really wants to pitch upward. Probably want to give it a little more gas than that. Kind of maintaining level of flight when I have it on max thrusts. Still wants to pitch over. Apropos of nothing, I wonder how hard you have to crash into the water in this game in order for the plane to be destroyed. Okay. Let me look at like a World War II Spitfire. So they have okay. That's a bad example because there's a propeller in the front, so the thrust characteristics are different. Let's look for a 737. Let's do 747. 737s are full of design flaws, so that's maybe not the best example either. Okay. This plane. So I'm looking at a photograph of an actual 747. It's hard to gauge where this. Actually, let me Google 747 center of mass diagram. Center of lift diagram. Showing me how lift works. That's not what I need. Okay, so in their example, this diagram that I'm looking at says center of gravity is at the front leading edge of the wing. Center of lift is in the middle of the wing, so it's behind the center of gravity. And then it says there's a balancing tail load. So maybe the trim is the way to go. Or maybe I need to. Maybe I should adjust the. Maybe I have to get on the list. Yeah, probably. Maybe I should adjust the tail fins actually somehow. Maybe I need to cant them up a little bit. Weight on the tail. Let me try to. Let me try to simplify this and see if I can. Tail load, is that what that means? I think it's talking about the angle of the pit angle of attack of these things is what it looked like it's saying. Find that again. Balancing tail load. It looks like they have their things canted downwards slightly. I know that looks pretty level to me. In the diagram, they have it canted slightly downward, though. So we're going to try canting it slightly downward and see if that helps. The wings are low down on the body of the aircraft. We could try to change that. See if that helps. And again, it ripped my other wing off because I tried to change a part that hit symmetry. Yay. So like that. That kind of makes sense to me because the mains, which are the gear that's on this back sides, are the ones that are supposed to hit the ground first. So maybe this is the right way. And then I'm going to try to... Are you adjusting this the right way? Yeah. Try to have it level at first. Our lift diagram. They both have it canted downwards, so I'm going to try to... cant this a little bit upward like that, just as a default. So the center of lift is right on the center of mass almost. I think let's try to back it up a little bit. Okay, center of lift is behind the center of mass and below it now. Built-in trim, yeah, that's essentially what we're doing, right? I think I ever turned off steering on these. I did turn it off. Okay, never mind. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, it's fine because this thing flies at a very low speed because it's tiny. That wants to pitch upward, so that was too much. Okay, so yeah, so we have the built-in trim, essentially, like you were saying. So we just need to tone down the built-in trim a tiny bit and just make it a little tiny angle adjustment. Once we add more weight on it, it might change things a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah, so this is probably exaggerated in the diagram for illustration purposes. So just a little bit of trim there. Let's try that. Oh, you know what? You know why this thing wants to turn sideways? Because the landing gear is sideways. Let's fix that real quick. So I don't have to, like, manhandle the controls every time you take off. See how the back landing gear is, like, pointed inward? That's funny, right? Let's see. I think that'll help. It's a massive toe in, yeah. Where's that term from? I think it's from racing or something, isn't it? Toe in. I feel like that's a car, but stock dirt rally tuning term or something like that. Okay, we're off the ground. Automobile alignment. Okay, cool. We're still pitching way up. Is it because we moved the wings downward? I mean, if we're giving it just a gentle little bit of thrust, maybe that's okay. We were stalling a little bit. Looking down from above the car is measured in degrees the wheels are turned in or out. That's cool. I think that you can adjust that depending on how you want the car to handle corners, right? Something like that. This is a pretty stable level flight. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, let's make some... Shit, that's not what I wanted. Trying to remember the precision adjustment key. It's Alt. Apparently it doesn't work with the throttle, or caps lock rather. Yeah, I feel like this is okay. Not perfect. Yeah, it's a tiny, but actually that's pretty solid. It's just a tiny little bit of upward pitch. And then if we put a little bit of downward trim in, then it stays level. And if we don't put a downward trim in, then it just very, very slowly pitches up. I'm happy with that. Oh, I don't know why it keeps wanting to roll though. Not sure if there's anything we can do about that. Maybe the angling the stabilizers will fix that? I don't know. Oh, it seems to be okay now. Where should we go measure? Let's go measure something. Oh, we're on curve and we might as well. We can check out the island. See if we can run some atmosphere samples on the island. Yawing, not the most efficient way to turn. Let's do it this way instead. There we go. to throttle down a little bit more just to give us more time over the... I think we're gonna go for beach first, maybe? If we can get it flying on Mars like this, that'll be fantastic. So we're still over water, according to the game. Beach party! I feel like we may have already done... Experiment for that region is already in storage. I'm pressing the wrong button. We want atmosphere survey, not environment survey. I'm already getting excited, like thinking how this is going to be to fly on Duna. I haven't even figured out how to launch it yet. The nice thing though, because it has a single engine in the back, it's going to be easy to put a coupling on this, unlike the triple engine one. Okay, I think the next thing we do though, before we do that, is I want to add some more fuel tanks under the wings and do like the asparagus staging style. Doing these very gentle tilts, letting the plane turn itself. Put in a tiny bit more gas so it stops pitching down, because I think it was hovering right at about the stall speed there. With that shadow. Flying so low. If I was a real pilot, I would be fired. Like, what the hell are you doing? Your license is revoked. Oh, we must have strayed off the beach for a second. We have 20 more seconds. Not as much distance as I thought we were getting here, but that's okay. Okay. So we got a beach survey. I forgot to put solar panels on this, I just realized, so we got to be judicious about transmitting data. We're losing speed, I gotta give it a little more gas, apparently. There we go. Okay, grasslands, here we are. I should probably be watching my fuel gauge. Oh, I think we might not get to grasslands, guys. Let's try to get some altitude. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Doesn't want to glide very far. We weren't going that fast, that's probably why. Let's go with a little bit. Have to do a little bit of a roll here to stay in grasslands. That costs us some altitude, though. I guess we might as well get the gear out, since we're about to land one way or the other. Might be able to stay in the air for another minute. It's not looking promising. Come on, Jebediah, think lightweight thoughts. Takeoff is mandatory, landing is optional. Well, you know what, this will give us as long as we keep bouncing like this, we can continue getting another couple seconds of survey, but I don't think it's going to do us any good. Something broke. That was the engine. It's okay, you know what, we landed, it's fine. I saw, by the way, from watching somebody else on YouTube, that you can just press this button when you want the wheels to be locked in the brake mode. I was thinking like the brake hotkey or something, but you just click on that, and now it doesn't roll anymore. So useful. Oh, we lost our atmospheric survey scanner thing, but it's okay because we still have the data, I think. You know what, that was alright. That was a pretty successful flight. Now we're gonna see how much fuel we can load it with while still enabling it to fly. I think that's oriented right. Yeah, looks right. I'm feeling the angle isn't quite... They're like angled a little bit inwards, but it doesn't seem like it gives me the option to do something about it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this thing heavy. Debating whether it's worth putting aerodynamics on there. Probably. Okay, and it'd probably be helpful if the fuel tanks are connected to the engine in some way. Okay, so... we need to do this in the other order. I think this is going to make takeoff a little bit trickier, but I think we can manage it. We should have the... Crap. Okay, we have the resource manager open because we can't see the values of the individual tanks. Let's start our atmospheric survey. Where are we now? Grasslands. This is not water. Game, you okay? We're not in the water. just realized I had the landing gear down this whole time. You don't need that. It definitely helped our performance. It reduced our drag. We're no longer tilting downward as much. Need to be pitching downward a little more still. Might be the drag from these tanks. We'll just set a little bit of trim to offset that. Let's try not to go into the highlands here. Okay, we got our experiment done. Once again, I just realized I forgot to transmit this. It's a lot of data, actually. I think this is Highlands up here. The air is lovely this time of year. Air samples show nothing unusual. It could be only one, that's right. Here we are, born to be kings. We are princes of the Kerbal verse. Why am I having this problem? That was weird. My plane suddenly seemed to just run out of lift and flop down. There's pieces left. I'm gonna have to revert to... I don't think we need to go back to the pad. Let's go back to launch. We gotta do grasslands again, which is slightly annoying, but it's alright. We could, you know what, actually we could send a tiny unmanned drone, but I think this is a good test of the aircraft anyway, so... I need a way to, like, shrink this view down to just show the stuff that I care about and get rid of all the rest of this crap. I also need to see my surface velocity and my throttle. That should be good. Okay, we're in grasslands. I guess when we're about at a third of our fuel, that's when we need to drop tanks. A little bit of air skidding there. One minute remaining. we're running the engine constantly in this, so we don't actually need solar panels, I don't think. The only time we would benefit from solar panels is when we're gliding. And I think we have enough battery that we don't need to worry about that. We can actually remove some battery to make the craft a little bit lighter, I think. Problems. Okay. Really wants to go to the right all of a sudden? Or no, it's just swaying back and forth. Let's put SAS on for a second, let it straighten itself out. Okay. So are these not highlands? Where's the highlands then? I guess these don't count as highlands, because maybe they're too close to the grasslands. Which direction are we heading? Heading towards the beach. Let's fly along the coast to the north, I guess? I think this seems like it should be highlands, right? This little mountain range here. I mean, it'd be a pain to try to collect data from that anyway, because it's so small. See how our wing tanks are doing. I'll throttle back a little bit. Get a little altitude, that's okay. Put a little SAS. So I want to head up here. I think that's desert. I don't know if we're gonna make it that far. We'll see. These tanks are almost empty. Tiny bit left. Alright, wing tanks are gone. I throttled back to reduce our fuel usage here. Funny, it doesn't look like we're driving towards the ocean. I think the apoapsis is a little bit off to display. Or it's something like an explosion. That must have been the tanks hitting me around, I guess. It was fighting me for a second because I had SAS on. I was trying to bank in order to make the plane turn, but the plane was banking and not turning because the SAS was on. And it wanted to keep going the way that it was going. So I'm thinking after we get some highland data and transmit, or whatever this other biome is we're coming up on here, we can try to practice our landings. Oh, we might as well do that before we get to Duna, I think. Although the characteristics of this, I think, are going to be completely different on Duna. I hope it'll still fly. It's so like meditative, just watching this thing fly, making these little adjustments. Actually use the precision controls and make smaller adjustments. Not entirely sure if I'm happy with the range, but I think the wing tanks will help with that if we set them up properly. What I'm probably gonna do is set up another set of wing tanks and then have the inner wing tanks have engines, maybe? Or actually, I guess the outer wing tanks, we only need enough engines to keep us in the air, really. Oh, we're in the Highlands to start our survey. I think we already have Highlands data probably from the Science Junior. Like how it does this little like submarine sonar sound when it's taking the atmospheric data. Like sensor readings. Now, this is not a great place for us to practice our landings, but I mean, it is good practice because we don't know what the terrain is going to be like on Duna exactly. It's covered with craters and stuff. We're straight over the grasslands for a second, I think. See what Jeb's doing. He's having a good time up there. I'm gonna wrap up the stream soon, by the way. It's getting kind of late. Oh, it's like 7 already, almost. I'm gonna wrap up in a couple minutes. So after this, oh shit, we're in the mountains now. I gotta go back to the Highlands, finish my survey. There we go. Okay, we got that. Let's transmit. I guess we didn't transmit the I guess there's too much data for us to... We are actually losing EC. Maybe we do need the solar panels after all. Let's turn back towards the mountains. We'll get the data from the mountains, and if we're not out of electric charge by the time we're done transmitting the other one, we'll transmit that too, and then we'll try to land. And then that'll probably be it for today. And we'll worry about adding more fuel tanks and strapping it to the top of a rocket later. Okay, here comes the mountain survey. Oh no. Was there just like one mountain? What's the deal? Come on now. I guess that was a mountain. I think this is mountains too, maybe. Here we go. Back in the mountains. I need to get a little altitude here because mountains. Adjusting our trim a little bit. Did the game just crash? No. It just minimized for some strange reason. Okay. It just did it again. That's very odd. I wonder if the game graphics engine crashed and it had to restart itself quickly or something like that. To have those issues that would crash the game on Meet Your Maker because they didn't know how to recover from it, seemingly. I guess these guys have a little bit better error handling code. Credit where it's due. So we have 30 more seconds in the mountains, and I think we're going to try to land in this valley over here. Start turning in that general direction. We are gaining EC, but it's very slow. We have less than half of our AC, so we're not going to be able to transmit the mountain data. Not before we land. We're actually almost out of fuel, I just noticed. But that's okay, because we're landing. Let's cut thrust for now, and just let it just cruise for a little bit. Taking out some of the trim. There's no place that's really quite flat here, as you know, mountains. But I feel like we've got kind of a level cruise going on, so I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like our trim is about right for the speed that we're at. Let's circle around this way, I think. We have an opportunity to scrub the landing, but not gonna have a lot of time to maneuver. If the landing doesn't go well, we'll have to immediately make another attempt. Okay, we're set to ground, not sea level, that's good. I'm try to lose some speed here. Not too much though. Burn a little bit of fuel to level off again. Feel like it's looking good. We're losing surface velocity and altitude. Push it. Well, we can actually land without the nose gear. We hit our stall speed. Oh. Oh, come on. Darn it. You know what? It's okay. Sorry, Jebediah. Jebediah is KIA. No, we'll revert. Okay, so we got the craft is solid. We just had to figure out the landing technique. I tried to put some power in at the end to recover from the stall, but it wasn't enough. Because we were driving into a hillside as we were landing, so unfortunately. It's funny because we were so stable that entire time, and then right when we get to the ground, then we got a stall. I guess I was trying to slow down a little too aggressively. We did hit the ground successfully the first time. Sounds kind of funny when I say it like that. Anyway, that's going to be it for tonight. I want to say thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to follow if you're watching on Twitch, or subscribe. It's free if you're watching on YouTube. Zinlu, good to see you, dude. Thanks for hanging out and helping me troubleshoot my aircraft. And I'll see you next time. Take care, folks.